All right, so Miyazaki and From Software have finally caved to the backlash that Shadow of the Erdtree in Elden Ring is too difficult. They have caved, and it has all started with this little guy right here. So and sorry if I pronounce it wrong, Scadutree fragment. So this was added in the DLC. All right, I'm going to quickly go over it because this is the root of everything that's been going on with this DLC. So this is a fragment in the new upgrade material in Elden Ring, debuting in Shadow of the Erdtree DLC. So it's an optional consumable, and can be used to enhance simultaneously offensive and defensive capabilities at any sites of grace, acting like a permanent boost to your DLC damage dealt and damage negation. So with the calibration update, and this is the update that I believe made the game easier, attack and damage negation curve scaling of the Scadutree blessing have been revised. So I'll get into that later. So basically what I can tell, it makes you stronger with attack and increases your defenses, so you do more damage and take less damage. All right, so remember that. Also remember that it's optional. So first off, we have, and this was on June 24th. I don't know if this was at a different date, but this is when this news was published. The Elden Ring publisher addresses difficulty criticism of Shadow of the Erdtree and offers tips. So Bandai Namco, the publisher of Elden Ring, recently addressed player concerns regarding the new DLC. In a concise statement, the publisher recommended that players level up your Scadutree blessing. This response follows reports of increased difficulty and performance issues associated with the DLC. All right, so really quick with the performance issues, they also address that, and they say turn ray tracing off because they believe it's people who are using ray tracing is what's causing the stability issues, or that could just be a cover and they're saying, oh, it's the ray tracing, even though there are maybe people out there who aren't using ray tracing who are still having stability issues. But the thing is with this DLC, people did not realize the Scadutree blessings fragments throughout the map were a big deal, and so they were just getting killed by the bosses. And I think this was a genuine tip of saying, hey, these Scadutree blessings are, it's a part of the meta. You need to get them and upgrade them, level them up. So they said this, level them up, and that's all they said. And so the community's reaction to Bandai Namco's message has been mixed. Some players appreciated the straightforward advice, with one user commenting, the best advice coming straight from the source. Others perceived the message humorously, interpreting it as a playful critique of their gaming skills. One user justed, this is the developer's way of telling us tarnished we are noob plebes. So some people are taking it as they're just saying get good, and this isn't actually a fix, so get good, but do this little thing that will mean nothing. No, I think this is actually a fix, and I think if you find these fragments and you upgrade them and level them up, it will make the DLC easier. I don't think they were, I don't think the developers were insulting or playing with their consumers and saying, get good. So the Shadow of the Erdtree DLC faced criticism due to performance issues on the PC version, and I talked about that. And yeah, so that was it with that. So now let's get into the caving part. So Elden Ring DLC difficulty officially lowered after recent outrage. So FromSoft's games are known for their crushing difficulty, and Elden Ring is no different. Following the team's latest DLC release, Shadow of the Erdtree has been praised for beating exemplary DLCs like The Witcher 3 Blood and Wine. And really quick, actually no, I'll get into that later in the video. We're going to talk about the player retention, which is quite crazy, the number of players who came back for this DLC. So however, the DLC has also been criticized for being overly difficult, blah blah blah, we already know this. All right, so hardcore players were against FromSoft making such changes as they hope to preserve the core challenge of the DLC. Obviously, there are going to be hardcores who are like, no, it's possible, we did it, you should not, the casuals shouldn't be able to come in and do it too, they should actually be skilled. So of course there are people who did not want this to happen. So according to Bandai Namco's patch notes, the Shadow Realm blessings have been revised. The attack and damage negation curve scaling has been increased for blessing enhancements. However, this change only impacts the first half of the curve. So yeah, so the blessings enhancements, so the attack and damage negation curve scaling has been increased. So basically you'll do more attack damage and you'll take less damage during the first half of the curve, and then it will slowly you'll get diminishing returns. That's how I took it as. So what this means is that users relying on the Shadow Realm blessings will have greater defense and offensive buffs earlier on, making the initial parts of the DLC quite a bit easier than before. Bosses and enemies will still hit hard, but players will now find themselves with more room for error. Meanwhile, the patch notes confirm that the second half of this curve will increase gradually, but the final blessing enhancement level has also received a buff. All right, so the final blessing enhancement has also gotten a buff. What's interesting is that the team confirms more balance adjustments are on the way. This could lead to nerfs for many of the bosses featured in the DLC, since From Software previously nerfed the likes of Radon in a similar manner. So they might, and here they say turn off ray tracing. Yeah, they might later on also nerf some of the bosses or the hitboxes of bosses, so it's getting nerfed. And now there was a mix of responses for this nerf. Some put good, some positive. I was saying earlier how some people did not want that to happen, but does it actually affect gameplay? So over on Reddit here for this post on the news source, people who don't read the articles, they are just improving the scaling on the first half of the blessings. So the early parts are easier, but the rest is unchanged. So yeah, the first half of the DLC is easier. That's what I'm taking it. So you end up with more attack defense at the highest blessing level also. So these people are saying 2% more attack, and really that's 1 or 2 more hits. Is that really what was gatekeeping players? And then some people are saying this would still help me. And so people are saying that this might not really change anything, but when you read further, people share their experience, like this person here. Mesmer was a joke post buff. The difference is not big enough for Mesmer to fuck you up before and become a joke afterwards. Let's be real here. Mesmer was a joke. So right here, the day before the nerf, I wasn't consistently getting to phase 2. After the patch, I beat him almost the first time and then beat him the second. It made a huge difference. This person then says, my guy, you just learned how to play. And that's a thing in the Dark Souls community or FromSoft community of games, is people like to act like the games are have a high skill ceiling, and it's like learning how to walk and then like learning how to play chess and do math. The more you fail, the more you can succeed and learn. I get it, but I don't think it's that deep. It's just a thing that bugs me of this community, which it's just a great community. It just bugs me when people are like, oh, you just learned your mistakes and what you need to fix the next time. And I see it littered throughout these Reddit posts. So he says, my guy, you just learned how to play. That could also be accounted for by the downtime, allowing you to internalize what you learned from the day before. See this right here. That could also be accounted for by the downtime, allowing you to internalize what you learned from the day before. They're acting like beating a boss and learning its stuff is internalizing when you're on shrooms and DMT, some deep emotional. It's just annoying. So yeah, this person said before the nerf, he was only getting the phase 2 of a boss, and then after the patch, he beat him on his second time and almost beat him on the first time. And I think it was Mesmer. Yeah, it was the Mesmer boss. So that's the DLC. That's the patch drama, I guess you can say, the patch drama. So let's get into the 80% of players who are back in this game. So this game, if you have 100% of the players, obviously, this game came out February of 2022, I believe. 80% of that population has come back. 80%. And this game is 2.5 years old. 80% have come back. That is wild. Yeah, so let's get into it here. So Elden Ring has seemingly proven, or Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree has seemingly proven to be extremely successful. One part of its success is reflected in the number of active players that chimed into the game to try it out. As pointed out by @Okami13 on Twitter, the total active player count peaked at 781,000 Steam players during its launch weekend. In other words, it stands at nearly 80% of the game's launch active player count peak of 953,000. So it's at 781,000. 781,000 was its peak for the DLC, and 953,000 was the original game's peak. That's pretty good. And here's the charts, like right when this screenshot was took. Right now it's at 341,000. The peak was 632,000, and the all-time peak was 953,000. Maybe this is an older screenshot, because 632,000 is lower than 781. Yeah, so it's saying a lot of veterans came back to play the DLC. People are saying this game feels like a whole new game. So despite the increased difficulty and a completely new feel to the game, the DLC offers more than you'd expect from one. From Software has gone above and beyond to bring swaths of content in the form of new open world areas, bosses, enemies, and items that make you feel like you're playing the entry all over again. It is certainly a treat for players who played through the original title and craved more of it. And then, yeah, so that's basically it with that. But if we were to go over to the Reddit post, this person put, so Elden Ring DLC, 780,000 peak concurrent players. Cyberpunk DLC, only 270,000 peak concurrent players. The Witcher 3 DLC 1, 20K peak concurrent players. The Witcher 3 DLC 2, 50K peak concurrent players. So 50K, 20K, 270K of the CD Projekt Red games. Elden Ring is 3 times more popular than Cyberpunk 2077 and 15 times more popular than The Witcher 3. So I know Cyberpunk and Witcher are very niche, but still Elden Ring is way bigger than Cyberpunk 2077 and The Witcher 3 combined. It really is crazy with The Witcher and even Cyberpunk, because the Cyberpunk, what was it called, like 2.0 or something, was pretty popular, and Elden Ring is at 780K. I did not realize, like, I knew people really liked this game, and it brought a lot of the casuals into the Souls series, or From Software realm. But I did not realize this many people really liked this game that much to be coming back to it, even when the DLC is very hard. It's wild. So yeah, comment down below what you guys think. Do you think they should have nerfed it? Do you think they shouldn't have nerfed it? Do you think the game's too difficult, not difficult? Like, subscribe, and comment. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video.